Shinobi, open your eyes. For the sake of your master.
Hey everyone, it's BlueLizardJello, and welcome back to Everything Possible in Sekiro. Shadows died twice last time. After much dialogue, we finally made our way here to Senpo Temple, and today we will be traveling through the majority, if not all, of Senpou Temple in this one episode. So sit back and relax, because this may end up being a long one. There aren't really that many natural breaks in this area, and the next idol, well, it's not that far away, but it's almost too close to call it a single part, so we'll see. I actually haven't decided at the time of recording how far I'm going to go, I guess until I feel it's a good stopping point. So, buckle up and brace yourself. So we haven't done anything off camera that you haven't seen. I'm just gonna go ahead and rest here, make sure everything is topped off. And we are going to head out into the world. So right away, you can see just how sprawling this area is. You can see that there's some walkways over that cliff. There are numerous different buildings and pagodas throughout the mountain. You can kind of see here, if you start looking around, places to zip. You got this mountain path going up there to that little pagoda. We do have a kite off in the distance, a monk enemy right there on that broken bridge, and we have what looks to be a Taro trooper kind of cowering at the base of that tree. That is a friendly NPC, one of the best NPCs in the game. We'll be talking to him very quickly here. First, let's loop around, grab ourselves some gachin sugar, which we're going to be equipping here momentarily. You know how much I love my stealth. Now we can hop down and slowly walk up that path, or we can just kind of double jump our way over. Grab ourselves some more scrap iron for upgrading. And let's talk to Kotaro.
They left me here. Where did everyone go? Why did you leave Kotaro behind? Now what do I do?
Why are you crying?
Everyone's gone. I'm all alone.
Who's everyone?
Everyone? Huh? Who? The spinning red and white flowers. Only one pure white flower. The pure white flower I cannot find.
What?
My head hurts. Sorry. I have no idea what I'm saying. I've got to find the pure white flower.
Because we don't have anything like that pure white flower in our inventory, unfortunately at this point, we can do nothing. So, Kotaro is looking for a pure white flower. We're going to find two different quote-unquote flowers in this area. In Senpou Temple, we're going to find a white flower and a red and white flower. They're not actually flowers, but more on that later. Kotaro actually does have somewhat a complicated quest line depending on which route you want to go. You can go one of three ways. You can have his true ending, which is my preferred method because, well, he gets somewhat of a happy ending, which is rare in FromSoft games. You can also send him to join Anayama the Peddler. If you remember, Anayama is looking for someone strong. Well, you can use Kotaro or you can use Jinzaiman the Shinobi in order to help him out. Kotaro is definitely one of those options, and that will expand Anayama's inventory. Or you could send him to Dojin, and Dojin could experiment on him, and you could finish Dojin's questline that way. Similarly, you could do this with Jinzaiman as well. I'm going to show two different quest lines. I am going to show off the true quest line, the ending for Kotaro that I think is the happiest. I am also going to show sending him to Anayama, which is definitely the recommended way of handling this quest, simply because Anayama's expended inventory is pretty helpful, especially for first-time players. I will be showing off Dojun's questline, but I don't know if I'm going to do it with Kotaro or Jinzaiman. The playout is essentially the same, but for now, we're going to have to bid him adieu until we find these flowers, and then we'll talk more about that quest. So this monk-looking individual is known as a Seeker. Now, as you can see, I can target him, so I can loop around and get an easy backstab, or always love the death from without. Right away, we do have another enemy down here. This is an assassin enemy, and if I hop down here, very easily I can sneak up on him, but let's pay attention to our scenery. We have some sort of crankshaft mechanism tying to that kite, 3 spirit emblems, and then an enemy who is completely oblivious to our being here. So I'm just going to dispatch of him very quickly. We'll grab these spirit emblems, and let me go ahead and fly the kite. You can see it goes pretty high up in the air, goes pretty far away, and there's a very large tree up and to the left that seems to be, well, right parallel with that, with another branch on the right-hand side. The problem is when I let go, very quickly that kite gets retracted. So it probably isn't any surprise that we have to utilize this enemy in order to move the kite. Eventually, in fact, not too long, we're going to get a new ninjutsu known as the Puppeteer Ninjutsu, which means we can essentially control enemies, and there's going to be a few little puzzles like that where we can use it. Under the bridge here, more Gaichin Sugar and another Mibu Balloon of Spirit. So let's hop up here and start making our way up the path. Here, I recommend either rushing to that branch, or you can see another seeker there. If you just run and slide into these tall grass, let's get an eye, because there's 2 seekers that are just melee oriented. There's another spear type up at the top at the pagoda. We're going to go after the spear type first. They are by far and away more dangerous than the melee enemies. So let's just get, you can actually get behind him just like that. And right back into the grass here. And even if this other one sees us after this backstab, we should be fine. And he didn't, so let's just jump right up, and just for a little bit of variety. The primary difference between the melee seeker and the ones that actually have that polearm is you can button mash your way through a victory against the melee seekers. As long as you're one-on-one, you can simply just hack and slash, and eventually you'll break their posture. These enemies, you cannot do that. In fact, you have to be very careful because they will deflect you back, and they do have some perilous attacks, so be ready with your Makiti counter or to jump over them. From here, there's another group of 3 seekers there, and we're going to have even more up the path. You can see we are going to be using the Blood Veil ninjutsu in order to stay hidden, but as soon as you climb up on this roof, they should start patrolling. And what I like to do is let that group head pretty far up. You can see there's 2 polearm enemies in that group. This one only has 1. So my plan is to get this group close enough to do a plunging death strike on the polearm enemy, and then I can easily take out the other 2 seekers. There we are. Now let's just back up a little bit, make sure the other group doesn't see us. And if we can actually separate these 2, it makes it even easier. There we go. You can see that they do have a perilous attack as well, but it's really not too difficult. You can just attack right through. Perfect. Make sure that we're getting all this loot. We're going to jump up and grab this bird's nest item right here, like coin purse. And I'm going to ignore this center path for now. Instead, I'm going to go over, grab this Mibu possession balloon, or a pair of them. Hug the left-hand wall. You could zip up there. Behind this tree, we get a pellet. And then over behind this rock. And I haven't actually pointed out yet, so there's a pacifying agent. There are corpses everywhere. One thing you learn about the Seekers, the monks here at Senpo Temple, is that they have been performing a number of experiments because they are looking for the source of immortality. And we're actually going to meet some immortals here in this episode. So we're backtracking here because now, instead of, again, going up the center, I want to go over to the right. There's plenty of long grass. There is an item right up the center we'll be grabbing here soon. But let's just stay far to the right. Zip up when we can. Over in this right corner, we have some antidote powders surrounding this tree. Light coin purse. Zip up, we got spirit emblems near that tree. Let's grab those. Got another grapple hook point. We can just jump all the way up here. And you get a heavy coin purse. Now we need to start separating all of these other seekers. There are quite a few. So what I like to do is I'm going to get ceramic shards right on my hotbar. Gonna get up nice and close here. Looks like the other group has patrolled their way down, which is great. And I'm going to target this polearm seeker. I'm going to use a ceremonial tattoo. Why? Well, for no reason other than I was on the wrong hotbar item. So now I definitely need to heal up. Bring him into the long grass. Backstab, you can see there's some enemies down here. Circle right around. And I'm not worried about using the ninjutsu right now, because I can just quickly kill him. And I'm not doing the backstab or the death blow there just because I didn't want to be out in the open too long, make sure that we're sucking up all this loot. Now here's where we are definitely going to start using that ninjutsu. So we're going to pull this polearm. They're all going to come. You don't want to be right in front of the grass, otherwise if they walk into you, they will notice you. And somehow, they still notice me, so I'm going to have to reset this encounter. That is strange. Not really sure why they did that. You really, if you can help it, don't want to be fighting more than one of these pole enemies at the same time. This guy is absolutely persistent. I think he lost me. I also don't have any of my shinobi tools equipped. Alright, as soon as he turns around, I'll be able to get the death blow on him. Very strange, just how easily he's seen me. Right, well let's fight him kind of one-on-one. Except now the others are joining. He's also now taking a sugar. Sometimes cowardice is the better part of virtue. Is that how that saying goes? Makes me feel better about myself. Okay, may lose interest. If I can just keep this tree in between. No, I'm not going to be able to keep this tree in between. There it is. Okay. Well, I had no intention of running this far back. But I would like to show the stealth option, as it is by far my preferred method. Far enough. And that one. Not sure where the other polearm enemy is. Is he? Wow, he's already way up there. Okay. Well, not as went in practice, but we can always adapt and overcome, and that still worked just fine. So there's some Akko Sugar. They actually can drop Akko Sugar as well, which is really handy. And then we just have this one other enemy. I really don't need to worry about him because he is just one of the melee enemies. And this section is now clear. Now here, we're going to grab some fistfuls of ash, zip on up, and there's going to be a number of crickets in here. If you want to use your shurikens, absolutely you can. Or they can all just kind of fall off. Oh, there we are. Seriously, they're like lemmings, I tell you. Akko Sugar. Let's kill some of these. You can get spirit emblems from them if you're missing any, which apparently I'm not, so you know what? I might as well be using these. Because I did accidentally use my ceremonial Tanto. There we are, still getting some of those back. There's another one. Now, in this next room, let me describe it before we head down. We have one patrolling seeker. We have 3 praying seekers. We have an immortal seeker in front of an altar, and then behind the altar we have a tarot troop. We want to do this nice and quietly. That's the name of the game. So let's hug this wall. Well, I was going to say maybe I have enough time to take him out. I should be okay. Let's get our firecrackers ready. They're not going to go back to their resting position, but I still might be able to take... Tell you what, let's do this. Let's use a ninjutsu. So we can at least get backstab on a couple of them. There we are. Finish them off nice and quickly. Even if they deflect like that. Whoop. As long as we just keep hammering our way through, we should be fine. The Terror Trooper still has no idea where we are. Of course, I am targeting the cricket. Muscling our way through. No finesse whatsoever. There's the Terror Trooper. This has just gone absolutely horribly, but that's alright. Ooh, lump of fat wax. That's a pretty good get. So just to be on the safe side, I am going to eat another pellet here. And you know what I would like to do? One thing I haven't been using a lot of is the Goken sugar that reduces your posture build. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to lure him, use the sugar. That way, even as I deflect and block, I won't be taking as much posture damage. There we are. Start wailing on him. Uh-oh. Let's use a gourd here. Oh, that was a block, not a deflect. There we go, though. He's broken. And there's the kill. So let me walk through how that should have gone in a perfect world. I would have snuck up, got the backstab on this patrolling Seeker. I then would have used a Gaijin Sugar to sneak around this right-hand side, leaving those praying Seekers alone. Go behind the altar here. Backstab the Terror Trooper. Grab this lump of fat wax. You can kill this enemy if you wish, but he's immortal, and until we get a certain item, we won't be able to permanently dispatch him. But then I would have backstabbed the middle praying Seeker, used the ninjutsu, backstab the other one, and then just 1v1 the last one. But for now, let's just grab this gourd seed. Leave that guy alone. He's just going to puke up some more crickets. And we got another Goken sugar and some ceramic shards, and we are done with this building. Outside to the left, we have Amiibo Balloon the Spirit. And we have the lady who likes us to pray, but also now she has some information, but only if we feed her.
Ah, fruits of the serpent, yes. There are two kinds. One is fresh, the other is dried. It's over there. The fresh one is over there. Over the cliff, through the hole. That's where you'll find it.
Fresh? What are you talking about?
Something troubling you? Rice for me, that's the way. Rice, I say. If something troubles your mind, bless me with rice anytime. Have any rice? Rice from the divine child.
The cave that she's talking about is, of course, that area over there with the glowing item, and that is also the section where we are going to be going to using the kite. There's that very large tree we saw from the bottom. Now this area, oh, this area. If you rush in head first, you're going to be in for a world of hurt. That enemy, right at the base of the stairs, that looks like it's almost using a twin blade, and that's essentially what it is using, is known as a spear adept. There's one there, and there's another one right up at the top. I think the render distance is too low. You'll be fighting both of them together, and they are a force not to be trifled with, even one-on-one. I'm going to show you, as usual, how to stealth this entire area. If this goes poorly, we're in a lot of trouble. First, I'm just going to zip up to this big tree here, grab all these spirit emblems, and over on the right branch, we do have another nest here. Nice light coin purse, but from here, once we get that puppeteer ninjutsu, the kite will give us a nice zip point that'll throw us all the way over to that platform. Before you hop down though, if you just go down to this lower branch, there is a Seeker right below. We can do a plunging death blow on. This other Seeker somehow is just completely none the wiser. Even without a sugar, we can just sneak right up on him. And now, oh, another lump of fat wax. That's a really good get from these enemies. We need a Gaichin sugar. Now, the way that I do this route may seem a little bit unorthodox. It might not make sense in the way I'm doing it, but trust me, with all the practice I've done, this is by far the most foolproof method. We don't want to go against the one up on the roof, or up on the bridge rather, but instead we want to go on the one lower down on the stairs. So let's zip on up, immediately get into a crouch position, stay out of that distance of that spirit depth, backstab here, immediately rush to the archer. That's okay that he saw us. Just take him out. Pick up any loot. I am going to grab this spirit emblem. Grab this antidote powder. We do have 2 enemies over here, one with a shield and one with an axe. As long as we are relatively quick enough, we can backstab this individual and do a charge up attack here and just whack him. Grab this pellet. Now we are going to zip on up. The other spirit depth should have gone down to investigate his friend here. Oh, but he is now coming back around. That was a little bit too slow. As long as we are not too slow, though, we don't need to use another sugar. And there we go. And that's how you do this area in stealth. Otherwise, it becomes very, very tricky very quickly. Grab this Gaichin sugar, which is almost like it's suggesting we use it. We are going to be taking care of this from the other side. First, we need to zip on over to this cave. We do have an idol coming up, which is great. Couple of spirit emblems, double jump and grab this ledge. And here is the next Buddha's idol. Excuse me, sculptor's idol. And we are in Shugundo. I am going to rest here. We don't have any reason to not respawn the enemies behind us. Before we proceed on, there is an area down here. If we just jump and use our grapple hook, jump over to this, we do have ceramic shards, but we also have another memorial mob.
Here to purchase an offering.
Another one.
Where you find the departed, you'll find the memorial mob. There'll be none to mourn you, should you forget the Buddha. Go ahead, buy an offering.
And he sells persimmons. We have not seen these before. For a time allows one to recover posture even when attacking or taking damage. Your posture will just constantly recover regardless of your action. He sells 2 of them, and we do need one for the Divine Child, who we will meet a bit later on. We have one more true boss in between us and the Divine Child, but we don't have to buy them here. You can if you'd like, but we are also going to be fighting some very weak enemies soon that have a fairly high chance of dropping them. There's also a guaranteed tarot persimmon if you send Kotaro to his true ending, which again we'll discuss once we start finding those flowers. He sells a dragon's blood droplet, some Akko sugar, some Ungo sugar, 5 colored rice. This is not the rice that other woman was asking for. This is a gourd that drops colored rice, and it's really just for marking your way. Think about prism stones in Dark Souls or shiny coins in Bloodborne. That's really all this is. It's kind of fun to have, not a necessity by any stretch. Light coin purses, heavy coin purses, bulging coin purses, good for storing your coin just in case you have been dying, and then some scrap magnetite, not terrible to have. He does sell 2 of them.
Where you find the departed, you'll find the memorial mob, wherever your travels take you. Make sure you bring some offerings with you.
And just to give some context of where we are, this is the very first section where we fought all of those patrolling rogues of Seekers, and that's where we started today's journey. Let's head back to the walkway. We're going to be zipping on up. And we are going to have some assassins coming our way. That bottom branch, you can ignore it. We don't need to go that way. Now from here, there's 2 things you can do. We can zip up here, and we can bypass a small section, and we can continue on. You can actually bypass all the assassins and get right to the next mini-boss. I like to go through the section. Well, number 1, this is everything possible, but also there is some good loot here, plus some easy kills for some experience. So we have a Mibu Balloon of Spirit. I do prefer to use a Gaichin Sugar here. You can get by without it, but I have had a much better success rate with it. Plus, since these assassins can drop these sugars, why not? So we're going to approach the cave carefully. Let this guy take just a couple of steps as he drops down. One backstab there, zip across. Another one. You can see I'm up to 4 skill points. I do want to save up a total of 10, and I'll talk about why a little bit later. There's another sugar. Zip across. Here is the third assassin. From here, you can take these planks up and zip up to that top tree and do a plunging attack on the next assassin, but you can also, for a little bit more variety, since we don't get to do this often, just jump up here, grab this ledge, and do a death from below. But just to see, or to show you rather, let's go ahead and suck up all our loot, not fall off. Grab that spirit emblem, there we are. So from here, this tree, it really just does give you an advantage to do a jumping or a plunging death blow on that assassin. Now we have 2 options. This option, in fact, I'll show you very quickly. Just shimmy on over. This leads directly to the mini-boss, the Armored Warrior. Just 2 quick grapple points later, and you're at the mini-boss. But there is an entire section you would then miss if you go that way. And it's also going to provide a nice little connection to an area that we saw when we first saw the Headless quite a while ago. This jump, you can see this is one of those launching points. This one can be a little bit tricky. My recommendation is to get a sprinting jump, which can be a little bit strange to do just because you are using the sprint button and then the jump button at the last second. So if you can't do it, the other thing to do is to aim right at that ledge. You don't want to aim at the grapple point, otherwise you can miss it. And I still may miss it. It's kind of hit or miss here. So let's see. Let's get a run going. Jump. And there we have it. It does take some practice. I have fallen a number of times in practice trying to nail that down, but the run and jump has been what has worked for me the most reliably. There's a heavy coin purse. We do have another launching point right there. Make sure you're always grabbing. Does not do it automatically. Climb up, double jump. Here we have some parallel walls that are perfect for wall jumping, but we do have 2 geckos that are going to join us. With both of them dead, the easiest way I find to get up these walls is to let the game do it for you. Just time your jumps, don't worry about the sticks. I always take my hand off of the analog sticks, face one wall, jump, 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 and jump. You could have also zipped up to that branch if you needed. And here we have the first flower. It is a white pinwheel, a small pinwheel made of white paper found below a cliff at Mount Kongo. Perhaps it was carried there by the wind. It is simply a single, pure white pinwheel, only the child is right here. This is the white flower that Kotaro is looking for. If you want to send him on his good ending, this is the pinwheel you're going to want to offer him. Now, if we just zip up here, do have another gecko, might as well just kill him like that. Make sure we haven't missed any loot here, doesn't look like it. Another gecko right there. And as soon as we open this, it should look fairly familiar. Here we have one of those centipede enemies. If you remember, all you need to do is jump at them. You can get a death from above at any time. And over here, I'm not going to use this door, but this is that secret door that we found after the Headless way back in the Ashina outskirts. Now, I think I got this in that episode showing the demon bell, but I also had to revert a save and play through the game again, so just in case I missed it that time, there is some black gunpowder here, but I do think I grabbed it then. There is the demon bell idol. Here's the demon bell. I still have that equipped, and that is where we're going to fight the Armored Warrior. So now to get back, first, we do have some more loot just on the other side of the divider here. heavy coin purse, and we have some monkey booze and some alcohol created by dew pooled in a hollow tree. Fruits hidden by monkeys in tree hollows can sometimes ferment and turn into sake with a bit of luck. That's a really interesting flavor text, only because monkeys truly do this. In fact, some scientists believe that some primates have learned to do this on purpose. They will specifically squirrel some fruits away until they ferment, and they will actually get drunk by eating these fermented fruits. And it's cool that they include that in this game. But that is just some more sake that we can use to get some more dialogue from either the sculptor, Emma, or Ishin Ashina. To get back, we are going to take a little bit of damage. We want to look for this broken plank. Drop down. And then as we approach this ledge, you do have another grapple point up there. What I find is the easiest way to grab it is to jump against this wall and do a double jump just by jumping again and kind of jumping just straight up and then mashing your grapple. In fact, I think I do jump out a little bit. So let's prepare. If your health is low, and I would say below half, make sure you heal up just in case you fall, because that could be game over. And there's the grab. Perfect. We're just looping back around. Grapple. Grapple. One more time, and now we're just on the opposite side of where we were looking earlier. So that's where the armored warrior is, but out here, amongst all of these Buddha statues, or these children's statues really, we have another type of flower. A small pinwheel made of red and white paper found about halfway up Mount Kongo. The red and white pinwheels simply spin round and round. Everyone is right here. This is the other flower that if you give to Kotaro will not open up his good ending, but will open up the option to send him either to Anayama or to Dojun, depending if you are far enough in their quest lines. And if you've been following this guide and talking to those NPCs, you are now at that stage. Again, I prefer, from a morally not so reprehensible standpoint, to do his good ending, but from a gameplay perspective, sending him to Anayama definitely yields the best rewards for the player character. This next mini-boss, the Armored Warrior, he can be a little bit of a challenge because he's not like anything we fought so far. He doesn't have vitality that we can knock down. He is so heavily clad in Western heavy armor that all we can do is knock his posture down until we can perform a death blow, but the death blow isn't enough. We need to make him fall. That is the only way to take him out. You can use Akko Sugar, which does help to build up his posture a little bit faster, but kind of like earlier when we were fighting the Tower Trooper, I'm going to use Goken Sugar. And I'm also going to make sure that I have some fistfuls of ash, and I'm only going to be using the axe here because the axe does considerable posture damage. So the goal is I'm going to attack when I can, deflect when I can, blind him when I can, and even better, hit him with the axe as soon as he is blinded. He also has a flurry attack, and I'll try and talk about that when we inevitably see it. Let's get some healing going. Goken Sugar. Let's actually get the, we don't need the Tanto or the sugar equipped, so let's just get the necessities. And here we go.
For the sake of my son, put down your sword.
I will not.
You are a fool.
He also does have a perilous attack. Ooh, that's a lot of damage. There it is. Get that Makita counter. Alright, here's the flurry. 1, 2, 3, 4. And after that fourth, he is down for a good bit. Now I'm going to back up just because I want to get the fistfuls of ash ready. Ooh. He is almost ready for a death blow, so I do want to get him close to a wall. Alright, this is perfect. Here's the flurry. 1. Oh, and make sure you are facing a window. Now, if that name, Robert, sounds familiar, it could just be because you know someone in real life named Robert, and that's a very common name. Or it could be because we have already heard of someone named Robert when we purchased the firecrackers. We did get another prayer bead here, one more, to increase our max vitality and posture. And we get the latent skill, Breath of Nature Shadow. Posture upon performing a successful death blow is recovered, which is very, very helpful. Take a look at the spring load of firecrackers. Unfortunately, we have to look at the actual tool itself, not the shinobi tool, and I don't know that I can do that here, unfortunately. But that is the father of Robert. Father and son who traveled from western lands to hopefully find a cure for his son, coming all the way to Mount Kongo, Senpou Temple, knowing that the monks here were performing different experiments on healing and possibly even granting immortality. Does not necessarily seem like that has taken place here. And unfortunately, the Armored Warrior has probably just been put in charge of guarding this bridge, meanwhile having no idea what has happened to his son. Here's some scrap magnetite. Here's the next idol. Go ahead and rest up here. This next section is chock full of enemies. We have dogs, we have seekers, we have bomb-throwing seekers, we have assassins, we have a long-armed giraffe centipede, whatever you can make of that, and then we have our final boss, which is right up there in the main hall. However, that is a very long stretch, and I think we have covered quite a bit today. I'm very happy with the progress, so I think we're going to leave that apart there. So hopefully you learned something. If you did, leave me a comment below and let me know what you learned, and if I missed something or maybe you have a better strategy, which is almost undoubtedly so, leave that in the comments as well so we can all keep learning. But I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.